What's up, party people? My name is Sunny Ray. This is the Sunny Ray Show. I had quite a week of interviews. Then today will be, I guess, just like the rest of the days. We've got quite a few interviews still lined up for today, maybe 4 or 5 amazing people. My first or my second guest for the day will be Jeremy. Jeremy spent almost 30 years building software and startups by his own account, with plenty of failures, a few real successes, and a lot of learning along the way. So Plujo is what Jeremy calls the culmination of that career, built around one specific insight from repeated experience, which I love, by the way. Problem to product is deliberately inverted from the typical startup methodology. So what they do is they start with the demand and then work their way back into engineering from that, I guess. Is that the TLDR, Jeremy? Like, you guys find where the demand is first and you work backwards from there, if we had to go right into the deep end?
Yeah, well, that's the general principle. Like, validate before you build. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper to
Validate
build
before you
now,
build. Yeah.
but the principle has always been true. But you can do it far more powerfully now than ever before. Validate before you build.
Why is that so counterintuitive? Like, you think that's kind of obvious, right? Find the problem and then build for it. Yet I come across founders every day that are in year 3 of their building their MVP, and just any day now it'll be ready only to come to a market that maybe doesn't even exist. But why do people get that backwards all the time?
Yeah. So why is it not? It is logical. Like, when you draw it out on paper for people, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course. Why would we invest all this money into something or build something and before we actually know there's a market for it? But in reality, most people, and myself included, like you said, lots of failures, lots of mistakes. Uh, you just you get so passionate about your own idea. You get passionate about your own product. You're like, oh, yeah, I can see it. I just want it. And you just want, and you start to create a narrative in your head about what people want versus actually going to the people and going, what would you like? How can I serve you? We tend to go like, how would I serve myself if I, and we start to make up this kind of, not fake, but like imaginary audience and market. And we go, oh no, they'll want it for sure. So it's part of the psyche, right? Like, we just get so excited and passionate about our own ideas.
So Jeremy, what is Plujo? What are you building? Like, I guess why should someone care? Let's maybe start there, and then obviously we're going to go into your story and all of that, and we'll go deeper into Plujo itself. But just give us kind of the high level to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, Plujo, it's iterative. So Plujo, in brackets, venture studio. So I've been building businesses and building software for since I was 15. My parents left the house, and I would take apart the computer. That was not, and it was at the start of the internet. And I just loved technology right from the start. And then my whole career has been creating and building. And Plujo right now it is kind of culmination of all that. It is mostly a consultancy, though, just trying to help businesses in this AI age try to navigate from how do we go from being stuck to unstuck, because most businesses are stuck and still have no idea how to move forward. One major component of that is our venture studio aspect, which is where we take people from problem to product, not product to market. And that's the kind of not the inverted, but like we go a little bit further along, go from what's your idea? Let's make sure that the people actually want your idea. And then we move to like, okay, now it's validated. Let's build a product. And now, okay, now let's scale.
That is like the simplest, that's like the most simplest thing ever. Yet it just, I talked to 25. I mean, literally, I'm talking to 25 founders today. I rarely hear that kind of wisdom. It's quite alarming. So, Jeremy, take me back, man. You've spent what, almost 30 years building software and startups, as you mentioned, with plenty of, I guess, failures and a few successes along the way. What's the through line connecting, the failures that eventually pointed you to Plujo?
Yeah, so yeah, I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm 47, 46, 47 soon. And over that career, like most people are like, you're only 47. You haven't even hit 50 yet. I've been writing code. I've been involved in business right through university. And I would say like the through line from that is I had a very unique advantage, because I was in the early stages of the internet, not like the early stages of when the internet was invented, but like when it was starting to like really curve up, like the dot-com bubbles and stuff like that. And businesses were scrambling, going like, how do we leverage this? How do we use this? What do we do? Like, just being at a website, Jeremy. So I was actually brought in to so many different businesses and given so many business problems from like day one, because they didn't need a guy from, McKinsey or like the expensive guys from Bain. They wanted somebody who actually understood the technology and was going to help them get there. So I had this unique advantage from day number one that I got to go into businesses. I got to hear their real business problems, like far more than I should have, right from the start. And so it's not an exaggeration to go like I've consulted with thousands of businesses and trying to help them leverage technology, leverage what the world is kind of pushing forward to help them grow. And as part of that, I see the barrier. So the through line of like kind of what I've learned over those years is that business isn't easy. Like you've got to iterate, you've got to listen. You can't just get in your own head and focus on doing what you've always done. Is kind of the biggest thing, and I would say that applies to startups especially because there was a formula: get an idea, build a pitch deck, go get some angels or go get some seed, and like go walk through the steps, and then eventually you're going to get to push this out there. Whereas the reality is that's not how it should and could work today. I think it works more effectively if you can go, I got customers. Would you like to help us scale? Versus, hey, I have an idea. Can you help me build this?
100% echo that sentiment. So you co-founded Salesflow, a LinkedIn automation platform. What like problem were you solving there, and how did it change how you kind of thought about go to market?
Sorry, say that again.
Did you not start Salesflow? I thought what was the company you had started prior to all of this?
No, like I didn't do sales flow. No, I started like really out of university. I started just building websites and software for people because I knew how. I was a business graduate from Wilfrid Laurier, or Laurier now. But I had a technical background, and that's a whole other different story on its own. But no, I just started building websites, built a small website development agency, turned that into a marketing agency, turned it into a software development company, and then we
Got it.
spun off a series of different products. One of them was Plujo. I stole the name because we sold a bunch of it was a content management system that was used for like large networks, pharmacies, major dealer networks, and stuff like that. And then we kind of iterated along that. So.
Got it. So you've called Plujo the culmination of everything you learned building startups, right? So what specifically did it take from each like earlier company to build Plujo's model?
Yeah, that's a huge question, right? You got 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 6 hours? We'll figure that out.
30,
But
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
okay, perfect. Like the biggest thing is that it's not that there's no formula, but there is a process. This is what I would say is the through line is that every business I go into like we're different. We're unique. You like we're different and we're special. It's got to be different for us. And they're not wrong. But at the same time, it's not like there's the same steps and same processes. And I've dealt with that especially when I consult with startups, people who have an idea or even like the start of a product. They're like, no, ours is so unique and so special and so different, and nobody does it like us. And you got to change your whole process for us. And I go, okay, you are special, you are unique, but the process doesn't change. You need to talk to your market. You need to get them to pay you and get them to agree to you. You got to get them to then sign up. Yeah, the formula doesn't change. But I would say that's the kind of the biggest culmination piece is that there is actually a formula. There is a series of steps for how to go from a problem, more specifically, not an idea, a problem, to a product that is actually spanned the entire 30 plus years of my career. It was me looking back to go, oh, and now I can see that now. I can see it because I spent so many times just doing churn, trying to figure, oh yeah, this is unique, this is different, it's special. We're always doing it different because we got to no, just do these steps and also have the maturity to go. These steps are procedural, and there are no go and no go moments all throughout it. And I'm kind of getting ahead of things, but like that was probably the biggest mistake. The number of times that I said go when it should have been a no go. Yeah, those are the failures. Those are the mistakes. Those are the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of waste.
Yeah, no, that's very insightful. Can't believe it's still like such a yeah. But sometimes that's like what it is, right? It's just the most obvious things are sitting right in there in front of your face, and it takes some time, experience to help you learn. So sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, as a piece of that, and it's a conversation I had with a few different people as of late. So not just one. So that if they're listening, that they're not gonna assume that I'm talking about them, although they might. Is that we've been taught is that as an entrepreneur, you're your best market. And that's I think fundamentally untrue. It's a good signal. It's a good starting point. Like you got to be someone close to a problem to be able to observe the problem. Because me, I can't go in there and I can't help, young moms. I don't know that life or young. Well, we have a young family, but whatever. Like there's a lot of situations. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. I can't go into a mechanic and go, I got a product for you. People got to be close to the problem, but oftentimes we're taught that we're the market. And the number of times I hear from an entrepreneur, I go, "Who's your market?" It's like, "I'm my market." I'm like, if you think you're your market, you probably don't know your market. Much like I lived in the marketing world for so long, web development and marketing as large. And the number of times in a meeting you have with somebody, they're like, "Oh, the website looks really good. I don't like the color green." I was like, "Cool. I don't care." Because it's not about if you like the color green, it's about if your market likes the color green, or if they like gradients, or if they like this or that or the other thing. And oh, I don't really use my phone, so it doesn't need to work on a phone. Well, your market uses the phone, so that it needs to work on a phone. So I think fundamentally, a lot of entrepreneurs get focused on I'm my market, and that's good enough, and they've been taught that for many years. That is got to be a paradigm shift to go. You're not.
Yeah. And you also said that most founders run to investors or start building without ever properly validating with customers, right? And that you've made that same mistake many times yourself. Can you tell me about a time that it cost you?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, what was it called? Pivot stack slash flow. So I'll make the story as short and tight as possible. Is that so? We worked, had a content management platform, and then we figured out that we can sell that through agencies. So we had an agency network, a dealer network, right? Distribution worked really well. And then as we started to work with these agencies, they're like, "Oh, can you white label it?" So we're like, "Oh, maybe." And then the bigger thing is like their operations were just a gong show. Nobody like most agencies, if you look behind the scenes, it's a gong show. Nowadays, with like better software, AI, it's gotten much, much better. But back in the day, it's like this paper docket going over here and this person doing that. And really, it all came down to that. Like Sally is a really good project manager or account manager, and that keeps things going forward. Anyway, so we built account management software early on. Like, sorry, not even account, agency management, all the way from like sales to project management to billing to accounting to asset management. Built it all. Built it all before I had a single customer. Built it all because we had relationships and I kept hearing the problems, and then we just like, oh, let's build this in the corner. And it started like, oh, let's put a small team on that, and like 20% of my my overall cost. Then it was 50, and then it was like we were going way too far into it. And yeah, I had a staff of about 10 or 12 at the time, a team of 10 or 12, and over half of them were working on that project on that piece of software. So you can do the math in your own head. It was not cheap, especially programmers are a lot more expensive back then. And yeah, nobody wanted to buy it. They said, oh, I got a lot of yeses, but then they said, as long as it did this, if it could do this, or once we have time to transition, we'll move over to this, or what. Like, I didn't. I had two clients at the end of 2 years, and half the team investing into it. We had two clients. We had well, it's a whole other thing with marketing that we did really good at getting kind of lead acquisition. We had about 10,000 agencies talking to us, two clients, and ultimately Asana, ClickUp, Monday, like they just came in and did it right.
That's wild. So
Yeah.
you described like this problem to product as inverted relative to the typical startup methodology as well, right? So why do you think so few founders actually follow the validate first approach, even when they agree with it in theory?
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with because of course, but at the same time, like I said earlier, passion, like people get really committed to an idea. And that is part of our human psyche. Like we all love ideas. Like we're just like, this is going to be awesome. Like we can write a narrative so fast. Our brains work on stories, right? Like our brains function and think in stories, and we can write stories so quickly, either about who that person is to us, or if this idea is going to be the next $1 million unicorn or $1 billion unicorn. Or we write a story in our heads and then we start to commit to it. And I think that's probably the biggest barrier, is that we just lean into these ideas, and we lose the focus because business is not built on ideas. Again, that's something that the culture has taught us for many, many years. You need a one good idea will make $1 billion. No, that was in the 50s or 60s, and I don't even know if it was true then. I have no idea. I didn't live then. Um, It's not one idea, it's identifying a problem. So if you can actually prove the problem and prove that your market wants that problem solved with their hair on fire and are willing to pay for it, now you got a business. An idea is not a business. So I would say people get passionate about their ideas is why they just want to run forward and build it, because they're losing that first step, which is I see a problem, I know how to serve it, and I want to help those people.
And so, Jeremy, how do you build discipline into like a studio so that founders under real pressure to start building don't skip that validation step?
Yep, that's a fair question. Because I do encounter, I would say over half of the entrepreneurs that I engage with have they're already pitching. It's about, hey, I got like the rejection stories that I hear. Yep, I got in front of these, and then we quickly changed it because based on that feedback and this feedback, I'm like, so now all of a sudden you're changing your business model or changing your idea or adjusting the problem you're solving based on investors' opinions about what your business is actually about. What people don't see in that room is that the investors, as smart as they are, and they are smart and they understand the markets, they don't see the problems at the other end. They see market demand. Investors are focused entirely, if not exclusively, on market demand because that's how you make money, not solving problems. But you got to match the solving problems to market demand. So getting that done, that work ahead of time is where you need to start. But no, it's not taught. I went to school. Laurier at the time was not. We were taught how to go and work for Procter and Gamble or for Maple Leaf or whoever. They've got a lot more entrepreneurial, but even still in schools, they're not teaching you to go and validate a market, figure out how to solve a problem, validate the problem, and then build it. You're taught, get an idea, write a really good pitch, go get some investors and move from there. And I would say that there's very rarely an investor that's going to say no, which is the biggest thing. They say no and you're just chasing it. That says no if you go, yeah, I've got 600 paying customers and I got an MVP that they're already paying for.
Makes
And
makes
with
a lot of
with
sense.
AI and a better process, that is not unrealistic. 10 years ago, that would have been nearly impossible. But today, not at all.
So Plujo's system runs from like a 12-week launch protocol into like a capital bridge protocol and then a lean scale protocol. So can you walk me through what actually happens to a venture at each stage?
Yep, yep. I won't go through all the details of the 12 weeks. I can give a guide. We've written a few documents on this, and quite honestly, we give away the whole thing because that's how you should run a business, right? Give away all of your information and let people come in. You know this, Sonny. You're exceptional at it. No, I can give a guide that gives you like the full details. Somebody could take that guide and go and start a venture with it without us. So I'm happy to share that, and we can do that. The first stage of that is really validating the idea. Ultimately, it starts with like do the hard work. What's your addressable market? Is there actually competitors in the place? Like, is it blue ocean? Is it red ocean? Like, is this actually a reasonable business model? And honestly, the go no go moments, there's a lot of no go moments there. Like, nope, there's 6 other people doing this, and they're already got investors, and they've already got revenue, and they already got customers. You're going to need a lot of horsepower to be able to get it. And then we go from there to if you do have like something that's really viable and the scalability is possible, we move into validating that just through ads, through communicating it out. Find your market and make sure they're actually willing to. And it doesn't mean making false promises. It's being honest and transparent in your ads, but going, I don't have this yet, but not quite saying that, but like, would you want this and would you go on a wait list for it? We're not taking their money. We're just saying like, would you buy this? Which again, like 20% of the people say, yeah, I'd buy that, would actually pay for it, or 10%, 5%, 2%. Been many of those stories, but you go into a moment where that like, and there's certain metrics that you can look at and go, no, we like this is that the market is not, and oftentimes now you're going wrong market, wrong positioning, and we're working through the marketing and the branding and like, what is this? What problem are we actually solving that people care about? And then we move forward from there. So before you ever write the product, because where I started years ago, I'd build a product to solve that problem. They're like, oh, that wasn't really even remotely important to me. This one thing over here, that's more important to me. And you figure that out with ad spend. And not to, I don't love Facebook. I don't hate Facebook, but it's cheap to learn. Like you can learn a lot through a Facebook ad very, very quickly. Far more. And we also pair that with like real life, like interviewing the intended market, like your segmentation, all that kind of. Then we move into like once you actually have a wait list of people, we build the product as a POC, not an MVP, but a POC, proof of concept. Like based on what the ads actually said people wanted, just do those 3 features, not these 25 features. Do these 3 features. Oftentimes, as the entrepreneur, the idea or the problem person, you're like it's not even worth it. Like, but it is, because they're like, yeah, it does that one thing for me, and that's enough. Because we haven't put the dollar on top of it yet. You introduce them in, you start to then experiment with pricing and how you actually position against the value and go, hey, this is coming. Do you want a lifetime? Not quite like AppSumo, because you can really dig yourself a hole with lifetime purchases or lifetime subscriptions, big time. And on your cap sheet, that's going to suck. Or not your cap sheet, but like your when you're going for capital, it's going to suck. Anyways, we go from that, and at the end of the whole 12 weeks, we now have learned so much, and we consolidate that into 2 documents. One document is your MVP. Here's the 12-month plan for where the product should go from a technical scoping, planning, scheduling, budgeting. Here's how to actually build the product. But it's based on not, oh, we think they want this. It's based on what we learned that they want, and they're willing to increase price and pay for value. And then the second document that we draft is a marketing plan. Here's how to go from that first 200. 100 is kind of our base number. Like, if you can't get 100 people on your wait list, you don't really have a business. But your first 100 to your first 10,000, and be it MRR or whatever it happens to be, but like moving that up, that's the second document, is the marketing plan. But again, it's not like, oh, here's an idea, like we think this is a creative position. No, the market has told us what they wanted to hear, what they like. It's based on that experiment. That's the validation part. So there's not really any guesswork. And then I'm kind of, I'll keep talking if that's okay. But like, then the next phase is capital. That's when you go for capital, because now your pitch deck is far, far different. This isn't, I have a dream. This is I have customers. I have a plan for scale. I have a plan for cost on developing the platform. We're primarily software. And you're going to have the ear of an investor far more than, I think this is going to work, or here's a little bit of a trend that I think you should hop on. This is, I've proven the demand. We just need to crank up the dial.
That's wise, I mean, to say the least. I mean, it sounds super on point for me, and kind of surprised more people don't talk about this. So the just to keep moving forward, the lean scale protocol is about getting 5 to 20 times operational leverage without headcount using AI agents, right? So what does that actually look like inside of a real venture concretely?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. So like, that's the third phase there. And on our side, look, we're a consultancy of which venture studio, and we're focusing on startups. The other half of my life, or the other half of the business, is working with existing organizations and trying to help them do one of 2 things: either increase capability or optimize existing potential. And AI is powerful on both of those things. New capability is like better systems, maybe even product development. Bottom line is like, yeah, can AI take away half your people's work so that they can actually focus their energy on the right things? To be clear, and everybody's kind of cognizant of it, we truly believe it's not about headcount. We're never trying to reduce headcount. We're trying to increase revenue and increase efficiency. The people that you hired have so much nascent potential. It's sitting there under the surface, and is so diluted because they're just taking 6 hours to build that spreadsheet, or to make that report, or 14 hours in emails or a meeting or whatever it happens to be. So optimizing that. So I'm working with existing companies where those are like big ships. I don't know, I forget the phrase, and somebody can comment on it. It's like, it's really hard. Like, if you have a big cruise ship, to stop or even to turn, it's a big deal. And most existing organizations, you can't just go and turn. You got to build culture. You got to change minds. You got to fight, Frank in the IT room because he says, no, AI is going to kill us all. And you got to do all that kind of stuff. So all that to say, for startups, that last piece is really giving new ventures that now have investment. And this is what helps the investors see, you actually have an incredible market advantage, because you don't have any headcount yet. You don't have built-in culture that's anti-AI. You don't have people that say, oh, I do that manually and that's my value. You build from AI from the start. You build those efficiencies, you build those workflows, and you actually build a lean startup of people who know how to manage robots, not how to do the work. And when I say robots, I mean AI. That's kind of my blanket phrase, like not physical robots, not yet. Give it not like, what, 3 weeks, and we'll be there. But I'm saying like that. So that's what we bring into a startup, is like, to the investors, is not only do we have a validated idea or problem, a market, paying customers, plan for scale, plan for development, we can also launch this at a fraction of the cost because of AI. Your marketing team is one person. your ops, your customer service is one person. It's not, we don't need to, your sales is 3 people. Like you can do this with a fraction of the headcount because of AI. But, and the unique advantage is you can do it right out of the gate because you don't have any of that prior liability, none of that prior debt. And quite often there's moments that I've seen where you have an idea that's just like slightly different, a problem that you're solving that's slightly different than others. There's already a big competitor in the space. You get the investment behind it because you have validation, and then you can actually crush that competitor because you can do it at a fraction. Like your margins are just 10x. That last piece is the ROI conversation at the middle piece, which is, so running lean is how the investors see my ROI is not 5 years out, or my 10-year exit or my 5-year exit. It's actually in dividends right out of the gate because AI is making this so this is crazy profitable.
Okay, interesting. I was going to ask a question, but I think you kind of just answered it in that statement. How do you match a validated idea to what you've called like a superstar founder, and what are you actually looking for in that match?
Like every investor or founder, or sorry, you say founder or investor?
I said founder. Like how do you
Oh, yeah,
match a
fair enough.
validated idea to a superstar founder?
To be honest, like most times, it's the founder that comes to us with a problem because we
Got
don't
it.
want their ideas. Like, not that we don't want their ideas. We go, "Hey, let's unpack your idea. Where's the problem?" Whereas we often work with people that come with, "Hey, I see this in my market." The best businesses in my experience are though, like ourselves. Like I saw opportunity I did it wrong, but I saw opportunities in the marketing agency space because I dealt with marketing agencies every single day. I sat down with the founders and they're like, want what label? And I'm like, why? And like, where? I heard the problems and I'm like, I can see how to make a path for you. So like for us to go, I got an idea about, like, how to be a lumberjack. I'm for Canada, so how to be a lumberjack. I don't really have a lot to offer. Whereas the guy that's been a lumberjack for the last 30 years is that founder is the one. So we don't typically match that way as much as if we can see market trends and all that kind of stuff. But that is where we wanted to start. That's kind of the traditional venture studio approach. That's probably what you're reading is some language that I pulled off of or like took from when we were originally iterating. That's traditional venture studio. We have an idea, we see a trend, let's build it, prove it, and then get a superstar founder. Whereas what we found is the best ideas, the best problems are found by those that are in the market. And we actually, because of AI, because of the structure, because of the process, I'm kind of going too far, but this is okay. I'm telling you, it's okay. I think it's helpful. Oftentimes, the founder is not the person that sees the problem is not the best founder because maybe they're not charismatic, maybe they're not a leader, maybe they don't have vision, maybe they don't understand all the metrics and stuff. But because of our process, we work with them and they actually see not, oh, here's all, organizational behavior and culture, and here, like, read these 16 books by Jim Collins and all that kind of stuff. We're walking them through the most abstracted version of like, this is what it takes to be a business, and where it lands, serve your market. And those people know how to serve their market because they have seen the problem and they have been passionate about it. So we actually create a space where founders are equipped to be able to lead an organization. Also, because your headcount is low because of AI, you don't need to learn how to run 100 people. Like Sergey and Larry, right? They said, I'll step out, and I forget the name of the CEO that they brought in. That was one of the, like, back in the from Google. I forget who they brought in.
Sundar?
Might have been. Well, he's the
Sundar
newest.
Pichai? Or no, you're talking
The first
about
name.
oh yeah, I know you're talking about. I
Yeah,
forget his
yeah.
name, but yeah. The guy,
I read his books
the
and all that kind
glasses.
of stuff.
Right.
But that was one of the most pivotal things because I'd followed Google forever. Like I'd built systems similar to them. Like I'm like hyperlinking. That's genius. Like that is absolutely brilliant. But their move to go, we're not the CEOs.
Eric
That was
Schmidt?
yep, that's him.
That's him.
Yep,
Yeah.
Eric
Okay,
Schmidt. Yeah,
cool.
I think he's. But I'm just saying, like that's a cool move, and that was really pivotal to me. But I
Right.
think in today's age, the CEO doesn't need to be as like operationally focused, politically focused, any of that. They just got to care about the market. If you're a founder that actually genuinely cares about the market,
Right.
we have enough technology and systems and processes that you can do that and do that well. You just got to be ready to learn and be ready to serve.
So help me land the plane with this one, Jeremy. It's been really awesome, man, learning from you and just hearing things that, again, that are obvious, that resonate, but you don't read it in books for some reason. Like it's, but it's yeah. So if a founder came to you today with just like a raw idea, no product, what's the first real test you'd put it through before, either of you commits like real time to it?
Yeah. What problem are you solving and for who? So I repeat that question every single time. First thing, what's the problem you're solving and for whom? And if they can't explain that, then we don't really have anywhere to go. If they have a good start, and then we start to unpack that. Not most, many do have an answer to that. It's not like, oh no, I just think this would be really good for those people. I'm like, no. Like where you unpack it is like, how many of those do you know? Where did you see that? Like, when did you experience that problem in reality? And and then you start to unwrap it into like, well, how are people getting around that problem right now? What's their kind of, what are they duct taping together to get over that problem or whatever like that happens to be? But if you don't start with a problem, you don't have a business. Businesses are built to serve, which is, and in most cases, it's by solving problems for people.
So simple, yet so powerful. I love it, man. Jeremy, where do people learn more about your studio? Where do people learn more about you? And yeah, and then after that, like I said, I'll bring this stream to an end.
Sure. Yeah, plujo.com, plujo.com. If you're French, which, because I like I said, I own that domain and that product for years, and that Plujo. Again, we're in Canada, so people have that. But no, plujo.com. And yep, perfect. Yeah, it's on there on the screen there. And then I'm not sure about the distribution, but I can give it. We've been building out a bunch of guides, just like giving away all of this information, like in practicality, not just like, hey, here's an idea, come and hire us to do it. Like if you see a problem in your life, I've got a guide that will take you 12 weeks through it, and at a very affordable level of your own investment into your own stuff, you can validate it. And so I'm happy to just have that in your hands, and you can distribute that as well.
Awesome, Jeremy. Hang out for 1 minute. I'm going to bring this stream to an end. Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate everyone listening live, and also, I guess, for everyone in the future. Until next time, cheers.